Here on Monday feels like a Tuesday because of the Friday game. It's quiet out here in the practice field, so hopefully no James Stefano video bombing here.
Yeah, hopefully not. He kind of flushed me a little bit yesterday, and I do have to make a correction because I said, James Stefano and Ray Robinson just walked by us. That was not Ray Robinson, that was JT Bale. And typical long snapper, you don't really know who they are, so that means he does a good job. But it was JT Bale, not Ray Robinson.
And we found out today there's actually a national award for the best long snapper in the country. JT Bale, I guess is he on the watch list?
He should be. I mean, he's I remember last year, he might be this year, but last year he was like a Phil Steele preseason All-American candidate at long snapper. So Phil Steele, goes deep like that, and he's been pretty good. I mean, he's 300 something snaps in his career and never missed one. So he should be on a watch list.
There's been a lot of issues with this program the last 15 years. Long snapper seems to never be one of them. But on to more important, no offense, JT Bell, on to more important topics here. You had a chance to talk to John Van Diest. I had a chance to talk to Ross Ells, the inside linebackers coach. It sounds like John Van Diest is going to get first crack at it. And what were his thoughts here leading up to the opener?
Well, kind of like you'd expect, John, kind of like you expect from John that, he's excited for the opportunity, but he says, I can't slack off. I've got to work every single day, and he knows that just because he's listed as the starter now doesn't mean he will be, a week from now, 2 weeks from now. He knows he's got to go out there and perform, but he's excited about it. I mean, he grew up here, and he's excited to play the Rams and go out there and get in that starting lineup and have a chance to play. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. I think that it's been a long time coming for John. We've seen him get in some games here and there last year, but with all the injuries he's had, it's been a long time coming, and I hope he goes out there and plays well. I think the CU fans have been waiting for this for a long time. He was the first guy to commit in his class, the 2017 class, I think, a long time ago, and so it's been a long time coming.
Josh Allen is listed number 2 at the other inside linebacker spot next to Nate Landman, who's going to man the middle linebacker role. Ross Ells also mentioned to me Akil Jones, who was banged up a little bit during camp, Quinn Perry, who transferred in from the JUCO ranks, and Marvin Ham, a true freshman, as guys that he's still giving a strong look to, even with the opener just a few days away. And he says none of those guys are ready. He was very honest. And so it sounds like if one guy's not getting the job done, he's going to try another guy until that thing sorts itself out.
Yeah, and really goes to the point that John Van Diest made to me that, hey, I've got to go out there and perform or else I'm not going to be in that spot. It could be not just game to game, but series to series, and we'll see how that plays out. Based on what you're saying, what Ross Ells said, we could see a few different linebackers next to Nate Landman on Friday night, but they've got to get that figured out.
He is, a coach that tells it like he sees it, But when you talk to him about Nate Landman, that's a coach's dream right there. Yeah. The leadership that he stepped into, and he made the point that guys just naturally want to follow Nate Landman, and we've really seen. You talk to anybody on this team, who's the guy that stepped up the most as a leader, and his name comes up every time.
Yeah, and he really, I chatted with him this summer, and he loves that role. He's really embraced it, and I think he took a step back and let like Rick Gamboa take that spot, that leadership role last year. But knowing that he had that, he was the experienced inside linebacker. I think he really embraced that this year and took to it. And you watch the way he plays. Why wouldn't you want to follow that guy?
I think you talked to Tim Lynott Jr. as well. What does he think about getting back in there at center as the starter in this program?
Yeah, mostly I talked with Tim about playing CSU and the game being in Denver, him growing up here. But we did talk about the offensive line and not necessarily about him being at center, but about that cohesion. And we talked to Coach Cap the other day, and he mentioned liking the starting 5 right now, but we'll see how it goes throughout the season. Tim talked about how this has been the same 5 since about the second week of camp, and how nice it's been that there's been the same 5. They've been able to really grow together. And I said, is this the first time in a while you guys have had gone this long with the same 5 in practice or this season? He goes, yeah, it's been a while. Whether it's been injuries or just last year Clayton Adams wanting to try guys at different spots. It's been a long time since they've really had 5 guys that have just solidly for a couple of weeks worked together. And knock on wood, Tim said, they haven't really had injuries there, offensive line. And if that group can be together, he thinks they can be pretty good.
Tyson Summers filled in for Mel Tucker with the media today. He's been in a Rocky Mountain Showdown on the other sideline coaching CSU. What were your takeaways from his message to us?
Yeah, Tyson obviously he understands that this is a young defense, but he's looking forward to seeing them go out there and I think more than anything, he's probably anxious to see what these guys look like playing games. There's so many guys in the defense that have never played in a game in college, or at least Division One. We talked to him about going against Mike Bobo, who he was the defense coordinator for Bobo in 2015, and going against his old friend, and looking forward to that. So I'm interested to see what this defense is going to look like too. I mean, he mentioned, I asked him about John Van Diest, and he said he's looking forward to seeing him, but then he said, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody.
They're extremely green on the defensive line, in depth spots defensively. There's going to be a time this season when this defense struggles. Yeah. And when that happens, I hope that people give Tyson Summers a pass because of what he inherited and how many new faces they're having to get acclimated to this multiple scheme defensively. I'm going to lose my mind if I see a fire Tyson Summers tweet my direction this year.
Yeah, there shouldn't be anything like that this year. I mean, they want to have a strong defense, and players will say, hey, we want to lead the country in defense. I understand that. You have to have that mentality. They're not going to this year. I mean, there's so much youth on that team. I mean, you look at the 2 deep, the 3 deep, and there's so many freshmen and guys that have not played at the Division I level. I mean, we've talked all camp about Jalen Sammy's one of the veterans of that defensive line. He's been here forever, it seems like, but he's never played a college snap. It's been a long time since he signed because he gray-shirted and then red-shirted and had an injury. And there's just so much lack of experience on that defense that it's going to be interesting to see what they do and how they come together this season.
It's also tough on defense coordinators nowadays. 10, 20 years ago, you tackled to the ground so much more in the preseason that got your guys ready for that in games. Watching those 0-week games last Saturday, there was so many missed tackles. That's another challenge that defensive coordinators face today.
Yeah, I'm not sure anybody in the Arizona-Hawaii game tackled anybody. So I don't know if that's those defenses or if that's a product of how football is now. But yeah, there's not a whole lot of tackling to the ground, and when you've got young guys, how are they going to react to that? How are they going to do that in an actual game when they're having to tackle, a Khalil Tate, somebody like that, to bring somebody like that down? So I think there's a lot of question marks about this defense, and we'll see if we get some of those answered this Friday night. But certainly, it's gonna be interesting to see what this defense does.
Just one more day of media availability here at CU before the Rocky Mountain Showdown. Our next video, we'll be breaking down the CU-CSU matchup.